Okay, so my lovelies, since I posted a video about my chief feature and I have not gone over chief features ever before on my video, I decided to tell you where I got it from in case you hadn't heard of it. So, this is a book that I saw before I knew about my starseed heritage, this was the beginning of me understanding myself truly and deeply. After my ex-husband and I broke up, I read this book front to back, and I filled out the little thing within it to see what because it has kind of its own character sheets in here, so to speak. It's something that you can write down your overleaves, the things that your soul chose for your body to go through, or the quirks you chose for yourself to have, or whatever. Your soul, your role, your stuff like that. But this is like the overleaves. You have roles, soul age, soul level, and it's backwards on here, of course. Goal, modes, attitudes, chief feature, center, part of center, and body type. And I did write all these down, but they're not right here right now. But and this is what I needed to make a new character sheet for to include these on, is what I was talking about. But the chief feature is your monkey wrench in society. Or not society, in your life. It's the one thing about you, your obstacle that you need to overcome. Inevitably, everyone's got their chief feature, which is the one thing, the one personality quirk that you have that ultimately you can get rid of, you can change. You don't need it, but you have to know it's there, understand it, and let it pass. So, and whenever I was doing these things, when I was filling it out, I felt like mine was arrogance. But, and let me find arrogance. You know, because I could be wrong. It could be something else. I probably need to review them again since I've learned so much, but I could be right. Uh, I'm arrogant in my own way. Let me say that way. It's very embarrassing for me to even admit the chief feature that I have is arrogance, because I don't like arrogance and I don't want to be arrogant. But since I've decided not to be that way, I just won't be that way. But the focus on arrogance is I'm so good at what I do that I can make others look foolish. I'm afraid others will see my weak spots and won't like me for them. That's true for me. I'm always afraid that people are going to see what I'm not good at, and or even if they do see what I am good at, like talking about all this stuff, they may be offstandish. They may judge me on it, so that's a huge issue for me. Um, there's positives and negatives of it too, as well. As soon as I should have looked this up before I started making the video. Sorry, but it's okay. I will just find it. Not a big deal, I'm sure. Ooh, I just saw impatience, and I'm not patient bad. I probably need to reread all these. But this is a really good book. Since I'm having trouble finding arrogance, I found the focus of it, but I did not find the... Oh, for crying out loud. I was there, or I wouldn't have been reading the focus. Because with soul age and stuff, they have the focuses, and then they go into it later. So I thought I was looking for the going into it later. But it's right here. The positive pole of arrogance is pride, perceptive, and accomplishments. The positive pole of arrogance is pride, a good feeling about who one is, and about the value of one's works. One may experience pride in one's family or nationality, i.e., proud to be a Frenchman or an Arab, or pride in having completed a major task such as doctoral, dissertation, or book, Such pride is appropriate for the situation and is not truly a feeling of superiority over others. See, negative, and this is why I chose it for myself, is because in my arrogance, I was always thinking I'm right, they're wrong. Whenever I was younger, I was always like that, and still, I have to admit, I have a skosh of that because this is all an illusion, and people that are stuck on illusion are wrong to me. But I can't look at it like that. That's just their personal choice. If they choose to enjoy the illusion around them longer, it's no skin off my back, and I shouldn't let it bother me. They're just going to end up dying in this third dimension and being born on a different one. It bugs me because I want to raise vibrations so they don't have to experience the death here and being reborn and stuck in the third dimension again. But if they're enjoying the illusion, they're not really stuck in it. They want to be there for a little while longer. It's not my choice. The negative pole is vanity, superiority, aloofness, lording over. The negative pole is vanity, a kind of overimportance bestowed upon oneself. Here the person believes that he or she is better than other people. They can be a sense of embarrassment that everyone is noticing him or judging him, so he puts on airs. In the negative pole, he cares about this intensity and goes to great lengths to keep up the show, sometimes with ostentatious displays of wealth or power. People love to watch television programs that depict a character who epitomizes vanity, often in the guise of arch-villain. So, when I discovered this, I couldn't pick my chief feature forever, by the way. I didn't want it to be arrogance, but the more I look at it, the more it does make sense for me, because while I don't want to say I'm better than anybody else, because I know damn well I'm not better than anybody else, that was something I had to struggle with my direct feed of wisdom coming through my entire life. I was like, and it was worse than just being like a teenager that thinks she knows, because there are things that I do just know. But that's just what I bring to the table. It doesn't make me special. It just makes me different than most. And there's others like me out there, but it just makes me a different character. We're all equal. We're all needed. And I think I've come past my arrogance a lot, except for my fear of disappointing people. That's a form of arrogance, because I worry about what they're going to think about me. That's worrying about the vanity of it. And I really shouldn't. I should really just be comfortable with who I am, and if they don't like me for it, poosha, it doesn't matter. But I think most people would probably like me if I just came out of my friggin' little shell. But this is the book, The Michael Handbook, a channeled system for self-understanding. And Michael is a collective that has already risen their vibrations. They're in a completely different dimension. I think they're in the 5th dimension. I'm not sure. But this is a collective that sees themselves as one, and they call themselves Michael. And this is a very, very good book to help you break down how you built your character in this life. I was very impressed with it. I liked it. It helped me a lot on my path. And this is what I read before I figured out the whole starseed stuff. So, I mean, it's good, even if you're only human, because it's how you created yourself as a human. So I would suggest this to anybody that really needs to understand themselves deeper and get to know themselves better. It's sad that my chief feature is arrogance, but then again, what bigger monkey wrench could I have thrown in? And everyone threw in a monkey wrench to get rid of. So that's why I like this, because it lists the wrenches, and you can find yours and get rid of it. Like, it lists everything with I kind of do just want to give you an overview of this book and what it's about. Let me light a cigarette. This may be a long video. Pop your feet up, kick back, light a cigarette yourself, get a drink, something. Where's my lighter? I'm back to teaching. That was a bathroom break for anybody that needed to. Keep taking that bathroom break because I've got to... Let's see what I wrote on the inside of my cover. Zenobia Big Heart, live, love, laugh. I try to remember these things. But, oh, in the grand scheme, the greatest thing you can do with this teaching is share it. And that's from the collective of Michael said that in a channeled message. And the philosophy of one century is the common sense of the next. And that's a quote from the I Ching. I figure I'd just read some of these things out to you. It's pretty cool. This may or may not get you interested, but the Tao, or God. See, in this book they call it the Tao, the energy that's everything. They call it the Tao. This is God thinking out loud. I've been bored lately. Being all that is of course wonderful, but I feel that it's time for a new game. I feel totally creative today. I'm in the mood for something quite unusual. Okay, where am I? Wouldn't it be interesting and fun to play a hide and seek with myself? I'll pretend that part of myself has forgotten that it is even part of me. The game will be for that part to remember that it truly is part of me. I'll create some mazes and diversions to make the journey a real adventure. Aha! I'll fragment this part of me up into millions of parts and let them interact with one another. I'll concoct some fancy distractions and paradoxes so they'll never know. They'll keep them or me busy for a long time trying to sort it all out. I'll leave the clues and little signs along the way to keep them on the trail, and if they get too far off course, naturally there will be an underlining structure in the game to give them semblance of awesome order. I'll even arrange for the parts to have some free choice so that we can really get into trouble. But that will make winning even more delicious. Well, let's get started. And that's exactly what God did, and that's where we are now. It's a nice opening. But it even separates it into 7 different planes. If you can see that. Pause it if you wish. And I hope you can read backwards. But everything comes in 7s. You have, let me get to it, essence and personality. But I always start at soul ages, of which it seems like we only have 5, but there's 2 non-physical ones. You have, of soul ages, you have infant, baby, young, mature, old, transcendental, and infinite. Excuse me. I'm an old soul. Obviously, I'm still in the physical. Obviously. But I think I'm on my 7th level of old soul. I really, really think this is my last physical rodeo. But, and I've underlined this. People don't really learn, they're just remembering what they already know. So since I underlined it, there you go. This is where I got like a whole bunch of information that I was doing Insight with Rush, and I stopped it after a few things. But when I was too embarrassed to come on camera and I was explaining it with my little cartoon characters, I already went over soul roles and soul ages, just the positive and negative poles. I didn't go into description because it would have been longer than the 2 minutes I was allowed to do on the free animating thing that I was using. Um, but an infant soul and comparable physical ages, okay, this is how they would act. And I'm sure you can think of people to fit every age. An infant soul acts kind of like a newborn, up to 18 months. A baby soul acts like a toddler, 18 months to 5 years. A young soul acts like a child, like 6 to 12 years. A mature soul acts like an adolescent, 12 years and up, you know. And an old soul would act like an adult. Now, this obviously depends on how old of a soul you are, what you consider these comparisons to really seem like. But as an old soul, that'll break it down for you. With an infant soul, a newborn that's like 18 months and under, these are people that don't really understand a whole lot. They are the world is complex to them, and they understand simple things that have basically been handed to them, much like a child or a baby of that age would understand simple things, the necessities to live, what they need to survive. But that depends on your environment, what you think you need to survive. A baby soul, they try to collect people under the umbrella of, oh yes, we are here together, and they start to recognize each other. But they can get blinded by faith quite easily, and more than just blinded by faith, they get blinded by their own beliefs, and people need to start believing like them. Young souls, they start to manipulate it. They understand it to the point to where they can manipulate it. They can either do it for good or they can do it for bad. But young souls are much like a teenager trying to get their way. Whether their way is good or bad is up to them. A mature soul is like, oh, I said teenager, but a child trying to get their way. A mature soul is like a teenager. And the fact that they're stuck on relationships mostly. Mostly your mature souls really want to find someone just like them. They don't understand, and they're really getting their click with their empathy. They really don't understand it when people don't see them the way they think they should be seen, and vice versa. They get disappointed whenever people aren't the way that they expect them to be. An old soul is pretty much knowledge driven. Not that they know everything or know a whole lot, but in their own field, what they're interested in, they're pretty much driven by that. And for them, they need to teach everything that they have learned before they can cycle off. So in my own way, I'm teaching everything that I've learned so I can cycle off. But it's complex because I don't exactly plan to cycle off. I plan to cycle and stay. So it really depends on who you are, your individual needs. But, well, I probably shouldn't go into all this right now. What is this that I bunny-eared? Like I folded the page in half to bunny-ear that biznatch. Oh, the 7 modes. Repression, passion, caution, power, perseverance, aggression, and observation. My mode is caution. I try to be cautious with everything I do. That's why it took me so long to even get on here and really talk to y'all, because I was being cautious. I didn't know how my message would be received, and I was nervous about it. And the only reason I go on about myself and I explain myself in full detail is because I figure the more I learn how to understand me and share how I got my understanding, the more you can use the tools that I did if you're interested in those things and learn yourself. So, really, I'm just trying to give people what it is that I